powering you up. Yes, sir.
This is Appetite for Distortion.
Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode number 393. My name is Brando. We got a full house today. Welcoming back Lauren Monroe, Rick Allen, and Matt Sorum. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I appreciate this. I'm sure Rick and Lauren are together, so I in front of a red curtain, so I'm sure you'll be celebrating Valentine's Day once we're done. What about you, Matt? Where's your significant other? Taking care of the little one?
My baby and wife are out in the living room.
Okay.
And,
fantastic.
my loved ones, my girls. Yeah, so yeah, they're here, and we'll hang out all day together. This is the only thing I'm doing. So
Awesome. My wife just left. I got her a back massager and a cat hanger. It looks like a cat, and you put towels on it. So I did, but she's gone. But the reason I bring that up is because Lauren and Rick, I spoke to you guys March of last year. I asked you marriage advice because I was a couple months away from getting married. I'm married now, so everything is good. Nothing's really changed. But Matt, I haven't spoken to you in a few years. And here's the interesting thing, because today, Valentine's Day, this is perfect. We're talking love is alive. We're talking about healing. We're talking about togetherness. I'm a couple months away from being a dad for the first time.
Fantastic.
okay,
Congratulations.
call me when you need to learn how to swaddle. I am the king swaddle. So I was texting Nikki Six because he had another girl, and we were texting. It was so funny because we were texting about how to swaddle. And I go, hold on, man. I got the double swaddle. So I made him a video of how I swaddle the baby, And
that's awesome.
it was comedy because Rick, 20, 30 years ago, it would be like, now, first of all, we wouldn't be texting. We didn't have that. But it was just like, it was a whole show on its own,
We our youngest, it didn't matter how tightly we swaddled her, she always managed to get one arm out.
Yeah.
This little escape artist. It was so fun.
Yeah, I love it. Well, she's growing like a weed. She's almost 20 months now, so she's running around, and
Awesome.
had her in the pool yesterday. So yeah, it's great. So any advice, let me know. I got a
appreciate
video
that.
swaddling. I got a double swaddle, so the arm can't come out. I got double swaddle.
You got to do a video series, Matt Sorum swaddling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was so funny. The picture you sent the other day of your daughter with the police chief.
Yeah. Oh, so this is so great. And I haven't told you, Rick and Lauren, but so the other day I went over to get the permits. So I go to this museum thing they have here for art and everything. And this guy comes up to me. He says, "Hey, I'm a big fan." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that." He gives me his card. I'm the chief of police of Palm Springs. And I thought that was so perfect because in the first responder world and everything, and what those guys do, and women, so when I went to get the permit for our event, right away I called him. We're gonna play pickleball too. I've never played pickleball, but I'm gonna play pickleball. So I go over to the station and I meet all the officers, and then he takes my baby and me to the Palm Springs Police Department on a tour. Great guy. They're going to come out and support us at the event. We'll get into that in a minute. So really cool. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I love that.
That was great. Yeah, unusual to be on that side of the law, right?
Well, yeah. In the old days, I'd be like, "Stay away from there." But now it's like I can't even get into trouble if my life depended on it. It's like I'm like, "Thanks, man."
Oh, I love it. This is the perfect segue into everything. What we're, the main reason why we're here today to talk about the event coming up. And well, I guess Lauren, you initially put this together. How many years has it been for this this Raven Foundation benefit, where it's got a drum circle and it's about healing and it's about first responders and veterans and just getting to the place in life where we're all right now smiling and feeling good about ourselves?
We started the foundation in 2001 and did our first drum circle event in 2002. We've been working with a lot of people for a number of years, and it's just so beautiful to see transformation and what the drums can do and how all the complementary and alternative medicine, woven into the experience can give people direction into how to heal themselves. And it really helps us too. I mean, we've grown throughout this process, and now, doing the drumming with Matt, and bringing in other drummers from 12 drummers drumming, that we started that initiative last year. And we're creating this wonderful drumming community to help other people. And it's fantastic.
I'm all about helping other people. And I'm not sure what you remember of our conversation a year ago, but in addition to the obvious, GNR theme, I talk a lot about mental health, and I've spoken about my alcohol sobriety of 7 years and going to therapy and depression, losing my dad to depression. I guess this goes out to both Rick and Matt, because I'm a wannabe rocker. I didn't live that rock and roll lifestyle. I've kind of lived vicariously through you guys, but you've obviously tried a lot of different ways to heal, whether it's rehab, whether it's friends, family, intervention. What is it about this foundation where you have, if you can go online, and it happened a couple years ago, I believe, the 12 drummers drumming, just watching other people tell their stories and share it. What makes this, work for you both?
I mean, that's a great question. I think the main thing is we lift each other up. We have this fantastic camaraderie, and it's ups and downs. We're works in progress. Everybody thinks being a rock star is all glamorous, but there's a lot of parts of our lives that have sort of included quite a bit of suffering. And it's wonderful to have a group of people around us that constantly lift us up. And it's, it's like they say, it takes a village. And that's exactly what we're creating. We're creating a wonderful community of musicians that really do care.
Yeah, for myself, I mean, if when Rick tells his story, I went to the last event. Rick, obviously Rick had the car accident, lost his arm, and he tells what he went through physically, but also, no one really asked Rick what was going on with him mentally, and if it's okay if I share that, Rick.
Of course.
But it was just so I was heart-wrenched when I heard his, I've never heard his story firsthand, and he told it at the last event, and it was just so emotionally inspiring to be able to speak out like that, because a lot of people, when they have these mental issues, keep a lot of things inside, and the idea of the circle is bringing people together, and to be able to sort of voice what's going on with them through the drums, right? So for myself, I came up as a kid. I was from very kind of toxic family environment, and I gravitated towards drums because it was my musical release. It was a way for me to escape from what I was going through in my family life. And obviously, when I got successful, I went a little off base, went off track, got into the cliche rock and roll shenanigans, but then when it came all full circle and I found sobriety and everything else, I went right back to the drums, because the drums for me is the things that brought me through my entire life and had given me all these incredible gifts. But when you see people that haven't had that experience, when we're in the circle, when you say the circle of life, the circle of drums, they're able to feel the energy, and we resonate together. And when we talk about BPMs and heartbeat and the rhythm, it's all connected. So we are completely connected rhythmically. And it's when you're in it, you're like, wow, this is so cool. And when Lauren leads, it's just amazing how she brings this energy and all these people together. And I'm really excited about bringing it to the desert, because the desert's got that energy anyway. And we've got a great community here. So I'm really hoping that we have great success for the charity and the people that need it. So I'm honored to be a part of it.
That's very cool. So how do you lead the circle? What's your intention?
Well, I think it's just honoring everybody that's there and using the techniques that I know work to help bring people together, like mindfulness, guided visualization, having people bravely go into their pain instead of avoid it, which we all do all the time, every day. And I mean, everything we do is about management of our feelings so we don't feel things. So, but in the circle, we really encourage people to feel, and especially our first responders and our veterans, they've been trained not to feel. And now when they're out of their line of duty, or even if they're active military, the suffering gets so intense that many of them, want to leave the planet and they want to take themselves out. And so this is a form of suicide prevention. Teach people techniques, how to stay in touch with their body, not dissociate, not cut off, isolate. And it's a really safe space. And once we access that, we allow people to, like Matt said, express these feelings through the drums. And afterwards, there's such a shift. It's palpable. Like you can really feel the difference, like the weight's been lifted. And everyone, this creates this very magical experience. And I can't wait to bring it to the desert too, because it's going to have a whole other vibe to it. And it's Matt's new studio. He's just opening up. So that's really a celebration.
We've never actually been there. We saw pictures. It looks beautiful. Tell us a little bit about the space.
Yeah, so I came to the desert about 4 or 5 years ago. I got married here, and my wife and I found our house here. And during the pandemic, we sold LA, and we've been here permanent. So I recorded an album with Billy Gibbons in the high desert in Joshua Tree. There's a lot of musicians up there. There's an energy that happens in the desert. It goes back to Graham Parsons and Keith Richards, and they all came out here, Donovan. And so there's sort of this really cool meditative energy that comes from the desert anyway. And when I found this building, it's kind of in the heart of Palm Springs, but off the main drag, and it's about 4,000 square feet. But what we're going to do is we're going to tent the parking lot. We've got a really great space. We're going to have some food trucks. We're going to have the drum circle outside under the tents. And then at the end of the event, Lauren and Rick, Lauren's got a really beautiful voice, and we're going to have a small gathering inside. I got about 2,000 square foot live room. So we can get 50 people in there, 60, 75 people inside. And it's going to be very intimate. We're not inviting like thousands of people. We're going to have probably about 100 guests, 125 guests. And the people that come hopefully will really support in a major way to get this charity out to more people. The idea is to bring funds and help vets and first responders. So that's the initiative. Have a very cool group of people curated to really do good. And GoodNoise is the name of the studio, which if you go to goodnoise.io, all the initiatives of what I do with GoodNoise are giving back. Obviously I record regular music there too, but my idea is all philanthropic endeavors through the GoodNoise platform.
Is there a way for someone like me who can't get out there to contribute or donate or learn? How can we do so if we're not local?
Well, there's a way to donate where if your donation could go towards a veteran and a guest to come and actually experience the evening, which will be very powerful for them. So we just go to ravendrumfoundation.org, and there's a whole page there where you can look at what we're doing, who's coming, and donate. So you don't have to be physically there to make a difference, for sure. And do we mention who else is going to be drumming with us? Because I think
no, we haven't yet.
We got Franklin Vanderbilt with Lenny Kravitz. I mean, we've got half the music industry right there. It's
Alvin Taylor.
Yeah.
Alvin Taylor, who's played with Little Richard and Elvis, and
Oh wow,
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing
he's
human
awesome.
being.
Denny Sewell. I probably heard Denny Sewell before I even knew who he was, because I would affectionately call it going to school music. So it was kind of bittersweet. But he was the original drummer with Paul McCartney and Wings. And for me to be sitting in the same circle as these drummers, it blows me away, because they're all drummers that inspired me, or I wanted to be them, you know. So it's so cool. We've got all these amazing musicians.
Little tidbit of information about Denny Sewell. So for all the Guns N' Roses fans here at the Appetite for Destruction radio.
The appetite for distortion, but that's okay.
Distortion,
You can call whatever you want.
I like
Matt.
distortion. Okay, I'm sorry. So Denny Sewell was the original drummer on the little cover that we did by Paul McCartney called Live and Let Die. Now we played that with GNR on the Use Your Illusions record, but Denny did the original version. And I remember meeting him and going, "What did you think of my version?" He goes, "Well,"
that's a great impersonation.
he was like, "Too loud." I said, "Oh, sorry."
What do you expect?
Yeah.
Well, that's too funny. I
Yeah,
enjoy
so
that.
that's some trivia for the Guns N' Roses fans out there.
That's cool.
Great.
We could add that to the competition. Who else is going to be there? Oh, Dwayne
Dwayne
Trucks with the Widespread Panic. Who else we got coming? There's we got to leave some surprise.
We got a lot of people on the hook. So we're gonna have a second announcement of a lot of cool names coming out, like some big names.
Cool.
Big names.
Okay, very cool.
It's great for people who make the contribution and come to this exclusive event, because it's not just me and Rick talking. Everyone, they'll be able to hear stories and personal feelings from these drummers, and everybody's gone through something, and it's so relatable, and it could really make a difference. So how to register, you just go to the website and you register, and then all the information will be emailed to you as it rolls out for different levels that you can contribute, and different types of tickets you can get. So
This might be a deep question, because this is coming from somebody who's been in therapy for 12 years. And what is it like when, because I went to AA for a little bit. I didn't think I needed it. I was like George Thurgood, just drinking alone. I wasn't infecting anybody. I thought I was more of a stoner than anything. But my therapist is like, "No, you got to go to AA. Otherwise, I can't see you anymore." She knew that was what I needed to do. So I went, and it took me a couple times to speak up. I would just listen to other people's stories. But when you go to AA, usually they're just Joe Schmo or Susan Schmo or whatever. But do you find it easier for people to open up, or more intimidated when you have famous drummers there, but you're sharing stories like we all have? So I don't know. Does it make the walls come down faster, perhaps? Like, whoa, this is a person who's famous, and we have that false view of rock stars don't have any problems. More. You have all the money in the world, but do you find when Rick tells his story, or Matt, you tell your story, that people are more willing to share, or do you find them like maybe they're intimidated still?
it's
Well,
sorry,
go ahead, Lauren.
I was just going to say, it's a very personal experience for people. So we never can, every circle's different.
Mm-hmm.
For Rick, when he's around veterans and first responders, and anyone really, his story is very disarming, like you mentioned, Matt. And it just, you discover a compassion not only for him, but you start to relate to being compassionate with yourself, because that's how he's gotten through it. Is really, you have to really be compassionate for your own journey, and his sharing that affects people.
I think the key, Lauren said it earlier, but creating a safe space, and the beautiful thing about this group of drummers is they're so supportive of me. I mean, I was so afraid to ask people to get involved. But then when a few drummers started saying yes, and they'd love to do this, I was like, oh, they're all on board. They I just felt this mutual respect that was just so beautiful. And I think that in itself, creating a safe space, and then once one person tells their story, their authentic sort of self, then it kind of opens the door to everybody just to share, you know, and just tell it like it is, you know.
Yeah, and for myself, like I said, when Rick shared his story, it was obvious that there wasn't any pretense amongst the celebrity drummers, right? It wasn't like a vibe where it wasn't that at all. I mean, I feel like maybe when we were younger, we would have never done this because we were out doing us, right? But now we're older, we're wiser, and we're in a period of our life where we really want to share our experiences and what we've been through and help people. That just happened organically for me, and I think it did for Rick as well, because we spent a lot of years wearing a uniform that said rock and roll. And, in a way, it wasn't allowed to be kind of going out there that early on and going, hey, man, so I feel like at this period of our life, we have so many amazing gifts, and it's time now for us to just share and give back what we've been given in life and be able to help other people. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think what it is we really don't like seeing other people suffer these days, and knowing what we've been through and the age that we're at now, the maturity, it's time to share that wisdom, and people accept it because people trust us because our stories are really authentic.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. That's why I enjoy reading these success stories that you are, Rick, and Lauren and Matt, loving your book and seeing where you came from and where you are now. It's interesting because I have an issue sometimes still thinking about the past. Would you ever, knowing what you know now, being the person and having these tools that Lauren has helped provide, do you look back and be like, you know what, I wish I had these when I was younger? Or is it like, you know what, I am where I am now. Like I wouldn't have gotten, if I had these back then, I could have scooted up. I don't know. It was meant to happen the way it's supposed to happen.
You know what? The fact that we're on this Zoom talking about what we're talking about means that we're in the right place. We're heading in the right direction. And it just keeps getting better. It keeps getting bigger. So we're doing something right,
Matt, you would probably say the same because
yeah. I'm a
last time
Tony
you called
Robbins.
yourself a pirate, of Guns N' Roses, and then pirates usually don't live a long life, but here you are, you have a newborn. I mean, you look like you're you're 20 years younger.
I'm a Tony Robbins kind of guy,
Okay.
You ever listen to him? It's all
Yeah.
the shit you've been served makes you who you are.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that. I'm like, I have to look, if I feel like if everybody can look at their life that way and they get someplace more positive and look back at everything they've been through, that just builds growth and positivity and in your life. And you have to get there, man. I mean, we're all walking down the path, and you get knocked around and all that stuff, but I'm really happy where I am now. And yeah, it isn't easy getting there. And sometimes for all of us, when we're in the height of our careers, we're doing the best there's not happiness there a lot of the times. And that, it's not always about where you're at financially or where your career is going. It's about, inner peace and happiness. And, of course, we all need to take care of our family and all that stuff. But I'm saying through all of it, getting to where you find some peace and serenity is the goal. That's the goal.
Fantastic, man.
Beautiful.
Where love is alive. See where my transition is, Lauren. So I know the single is out right now, which is perfect because it's very anthemic. I can picture you leading off this entire event with that. I don't know if that's the plan. And there's a video coming for that. So I was hoping you can update us on what's going on with you and the single and the video and all that fun stuff.
Well, the single is a 1970s cover of Live, which is a song that we all grew up with here. And there's a video coming out March 7th. We took clips of the live shows that I did in 2000 last year on the tour, mostly on the East Coast and some out here on the West Coast. And we created this really fun video just that captures the energy of it. But I think it's a powerful thing when you get to a place in your life when you actually embrace yourself 100%, all of the ugly things that you may have thought that happened in the past, you embrace them, you accept them, because they, like Matt said, they have created who you are now, which is an absolute gift. And I wouldn't have the experience that I have to speak about what I do or sing about what I do if I didn't go through what I went through in my life, and then accepted it and embraced it as who I am. And I think that's what makes an authentic person. So this song celebrates that and the power of that. Once you get to a certain place in your life, it's not about what anybody thinks. It's about really embracing who you are and showing up 100%. So I hope people can get that out of the video, out of the song, and out of this event that we're going to be creating together.
I listened to it right before the interview. It pumped me up for it, put me in the right mood, my right headspace for for this. So I appreciate it. I know we don't have a ton of time, but I would be remiss if I didn't speak about some famous bands here. Rick, what's the latest going on with Def Leppard and going out again with Motley Crue with a new member?
Yeah, and John 5 is great. I really just kind of connected with him the other day. We did a couple of one-off shows in Atlantic City, which were great. I mean, it was a tiring couple of days, but fantastic. And what a sweet guy. Yeah, we're heading south of the border pretty soon here. And so we start up in Mexico City, and then we finish off in Buenos Aires down in Argentina. Hopefully they're still celebrating their World Cup win. So we can sort of hang on their coattails of celebration, as it were. So it'll be fun.
You both, Matt and you, Rick, have been through some lineup changes in your life, to say the least. How hard of it is a decision? Well, Mick is still part of the band. He's just not touring. How hard of a decision is that for a band to make? Because us fans are, I don't know, we might not know what's going on the other side of the curtain, so to speak. And like, okay, here's a band, but we're not replacing anybody as far as a human being. This is just a situation that has to happen.
Let me just address that really quickly. It was Mick's decision to really, move on and just, get to the next part of his life. And we all know that Mick has suffered terribly, terribly with pain. You see it on his face all the time. And I think the only time, I ever saw, him truly in his element when he was up on stage playing with the band. It was more his decision. That must have been a super hard decision. I mean, it would have been different if the guy was being thrown out of the band, but it wasn't like that at all. It was a personal choice that he made. And, you can't say that that's wrong. It was right for him at the time. And, over the months that actually years that I've known him, I really, started to talk to him. So unassuming, such a sort of soft, gentle soul. And when I first met him years ago, I was actually quite afraid, like, oh God. But he's the exact opposite of that, just a really sweet, generous person. So it must have been a very difficult decision for everybody to have to go through that.
And while I admire both of you for what you've been through and where you are now, I admire Mick. I don't have the same disease. I have the nerve version of what he has. So I have a demyelinating peripheral neuropathy is what it's called. So over time, there's like something missing in the nerves where the muscles get weaker. So over time, I've just gotten weaker, which is why I've gone from leg braces to soon a wheelchair. And, it affects me going out, how I do things, and just seeing someone like Mick, who's actually in pain, do this. Has just been so inspiring. So yeah, certainly a difficult decision for him. Not an easy transition or a smooth transition, but Matt, I want to know what's going on lately with you, with more Kings of Chaos coming. What else do you have cooking, working with Billy?
I just booked the Long Beach Grand Prix, but my band is kind of interesting. I'm the only member.
Brilliant.
And you know what's weird? Rick, I like it that way. So on that gig, I can announce it now because this is going to be out in a little bit. I got Corey Taylor from Slipknot, my old bandmate Billy Duffy from the Cult, Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm, Gilby Clark,
Oh,
Brent
man.
Woods, killer guitar player from Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders. I got James Lomenzo on bass, who's now in Megadeth.
Yeah.
And, Rome from Sublime.
Wow.
And then I'm bringing out Corey Glover and Vernon Reed from Living Color, and we're going to throw down
Oh, wow.
Is that one band?
one band.
Oh, that's all band.
Touring, or is this one show?
No, we're going to do Long Beach Grand Prix, and I'm
Oh,
working.
okay.
I'm working on a record and 2 tracks coming with some really cool people. I don't want to announce it yet. So I put out the track with Slash and Duff. I don't know if you heard that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was great.
And
Oh, absolutely. We were supposed to, I was speaking to your friend Ken, and we were supposed to have an interview then, and it just didn't happen. I don't know, things happen, no worries. So that's why I was happy to talk to you today and at least ask some Kings of
can't
Chaos.
seem to get away from those guys. I mean, we sound good together, so why not?
Well, what was the decision to bring back like Kings of Chaos has kind of always been that fluid, like Camp Freddy, people coming in and out, to you being the face of it. And I love it because you kind of sound like Lemmy. You're doing a Lemmy-ish, I love you being the face of that band.
Well, I sang, when I was in the Hollywood Vampires, I sang Ace of Spades live. Because the Hollywood Vampires was all about dead rock stars. So our whole thing was tribute to dead rock stars. So Alice Cooper, he was like, Matt, can you sing that one? I can't sing that. So I sang it on the tour, and that was fun. And so when I did the track, I'm like, I'll sing it. I'll just sing the song, And a lot of times, you know how it is, Rick. They'll go back there, get behind the drums and not, play drums.
Play drums and shut up.
I was like, tell that to Dave Grohl and Don Henley. You know what I'm saying?
Phil Collins.
Oh, yeah. What about Phil Collins? Okay. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
love it, man.
Like Phil Collins was like, Genesis couldn't find a singer. And Phil's like, I'll sing. And they're like, no, you won't. And then he's like,
No,
he jumped
I know.
up.
And he actually sounded like Peter Gabriel in many ways.
That's great.
Yeah.
It goes to
Yeah,
show you
back there the whole time. So
the whole time. The call is coming from inside the house. They're right there. Well, it
Yeah.
goes to show
So,
you.
yeah, it's
you're
fun
really
for
just
me
drummers.
because it's like bucket list stuff.
Mhm.
I call
Okay.
everybody. I look at life like this. I used to be like, oh, I'm going to call them and they're going to say no. And this is what me and Rick talked about. I said, Rick, just call them up, man. You're going to get 1 of 2 answers, yes or no. And you got to be okay with no. Because, I've got some funny stories. I called Keith Richards. I called his manager, Jane Rose, and she said, he's already in the band. You might have heard of him. They're called the Rolling Stones.
Oh.
She hung up on me. She
Oh, that's
hung
not
up. I
nice.
was like, yeah. I was like,
Hey, 50-50 odds are pretty good.
yeah, I got hung up on by Keith Richards. It was cool. But I tried. I didn't care. So anyway, that's kind of how I run Kings of Chaos. I just call people up and I put this band together. I do a budget, pay everyone well, and we come and play. And, if we could do a tour, that'd be great. I'm not sure when that would happen, but we'll see.
Well, I love it. Well, I love you bringing it to life and seeing what you're doing today, Matt, with it, and just more music, because I want to hear more music from you. Obviously, more music from Rick and Lauren. Any more than just a single and video coming out, or any albums on the way? I know last year you came out with a record.
Yep, I'm planning on it. We're still working on it. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we can all do this again when new Kings of Chaos, new Lauren Monroe, and when Rick's not touring the world with Motley Crue, and Def Leppard.
Yeah, I've been in Motley Crue for ages, man.
Yeah. That was with Motley Crue and Def Leppard. I just said that awkwardly.
No,
I just figured I'd end the episode terribly on my part, so that's fine.
No, it's fine. I'm actually getting to the point where I could get my head around a few of Tommy's parts, but he's some big shoes to fill, man. He's a monstrous player. He really is.
Nice, sounded good.
Just you don't have to comment on this. Just
Such a
don't.
lanky guy. It's just like, it's like a
Freaking orangutan.
Just don't do. You don't have to comment on this. Don't do everything that he does as far as like posting his balls.
Well, there is that. It's
Yeah.
Tommy. It's
Yes,
okay.
It's Do you, I don't know, you guys all laugh about it. Do you ever like, I don't know. Now I don't, I'm keeping you guys here long enough. I don't need to talk more about Tommy Lee's balls. Thank you so much. Thank you all three of you for coming on today. Hope to speak to you again, and just congratulations on this event. Thank you for the great work that you're doing, because you know, that's why I'm open about my issues. Shout out to one of my listeners, Connie from Greece. He's 2 years sober just because he's heard me talk about being sober and talking about my dad losing his life to depression. And, you know, there are people that say, oh, I've been thinking about taking my life, and hearing your story, how you know. So it's sharing stories, but I thought my story wasn't good enough because I wasn't famous. But I've learned through doing this podcast and talking to you, it doesn't matter. You know, I had a great conversation a year ago with Dave Navarro. He's like, it doesn't matter what girl, how much money, what band, it doesn't cure trauma. You have to work on that. So you got all three of you guys doing great work, and I thank you for that.
So just one more reminder, ravendrumfoundation.com. Go there and sign up, and you'll get an email about the event, April 1st, Palm Springs, California. And if you can come, that's awesome. If you can't, share it with somebody or just donate.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Exactly. Awesome. So that does it for this episode of Appetite for Distortion. When will you see the next one? In the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.
Ah.